his daughter Elizabeth I then made this declaration basically as an oath. She took an oath, and it's the supreme governor of the Church of England, and she laid her claim by way of the oath. So it was a declaration to the people that I now own everything, you know, and that's why everyone has to do the land registry, the vehicle, everything that you do when using oh, you just wouldn't believe the things that go on. But basically, you go to the shop and you get your receipt. What's your receipt for? Yeah, and for money, you're looking at it from the buyer's point of view. For who? In what context? Exactly, yeah, it's for the accounting, and where does the accounting go? What? To the tax. And who are the tax? The collectors for the crown. Her Majesty's. Yeah. So where did that stem from? That stemmed from the Domesday Book. Now, all land that was claimed prior to the Domesday Book, which was written in 1086, and William the Conqueror arrived in 1066, all land that was claimed in that interim period by the Norman lords or the barons never had to go into the Domesday Book as long as it stayed in the family bloodline. So if you look at some of the Eton schoolboys who are the landowners, that's the landowners' school, a lot of their names tend to be in French, like De La War, or you know, them mad French names like that. And they never have to pay tax.
Is that a allodial title?
They've got a allodial title, yeah. It's outside of the crown. They've done a land patent on the thing, and they've been granted it by the King, William the Conqueror, because he was skint, basically, and the French lords could hold him to ransom by saying, well, I want Northumberland, or you're not getting the benefit of my army. So he said, all right, fair enough. Because he was left the Kingdom of England by, I think it was Ethelred the Unready, and he died and changed his mind on his deathbed and said, oh, I'm giving it to Harold. And poor Harold was lumbered with all this like attacks coming from everywhere and just got slaughtered basically. So yeah, so in that interim period when the Domesday Book was written, the Norman lords were given carte blanche to pick whichever land that they wanted, and they chose about 51% of all the land of England, Scotland and Wales, I think it was, and it never had to go into the Domesday Book, which is a tax collector's book. Now the houses that we all live in, you can pretty much guarantee, say like is it Duke of Westminster there in near Chester, he's got that place, hasn't he? Well, you can pretty much guarantee that the people there don't come under the same law form as people who live maybe in Chester or just outside the walls. You know, you'd have to understand which areas that you live in. Like there's a guy there, I know, he lives down in Kent, in Seven Oaks, and he said it's just a different world. He said it's all common law. There's no real statutory law allowed because there's all notices up, private land, and when it's private like that, it's being claimed allodially, like you say. There's no, yeah.
Sorry, can I just ask, is it possible to get a allodial title on like iron field? Would that be possible to do?
Well, if you don't, it's more fool you, like, yeah. Definitely is possible. But
okay. I'll talk to you about that after, yeah.
Well, I'm studying it more than actually doing it, yeah. It's quite a little bit of a minefield because, you know, you start claiming or making your declaration of you know, ownership, then Crown, team of solicitors, can you handle what they're going to throw at you?
It can be diluted. I mean, you can have the right to put up structures and stuff, but that's like, yeah, you can do that, and then you're happy to be bonded by that law. So okay, I'm not going to own this. I'm just happy to be exemplary.
You can do that, but you know,
if there's no other use for it, it's cool.
As long as that use is held in perpetuity,
yeah,
for your, you know, your heirs, like, yeah, then that's fine. They can hold the land.
There's plenty of Wales and stuff like that.
Is that?
You got it. The only person who'll be there is worth being there anyway, and there's no one to take that claim away from you. You can be.
Yeah.
Because
cheats card,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Well-
You would lay claim to that by your disposition to be there at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfectly explained. Yeah. So, but it's understanding the mechanics of when you sort of want to drag it off lands registry or tell them, you know,
It doesn't really matter. You've left that scene. It doesn't have to be yours. You don't have to feel like this is. It's everybody's any time when they need it. At the right time, the right place, to do the right thing.
exactly it is. Yeah.
Pockets available.
Yeah. So I'd speak to him if I was you.
But if it is already registered to you, say the field, then if it is already registered to you with land registry, can you then get a allodial title on that?
So it's registered to you with land registry. You mean you've registered it with land registry?
As in when you buy something and then obviously it gets registered in your name.
To land registry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now they're holding, which is the path that we were just getting onto with a allodial title. With trusts, it's a splitting of the title. So whenever you've got like a title, which is whole, whenever there's a split, there's a trust relation going on somewhere in some way, and it's understanding what way that it's being split. You know, have you heard the term 9/10 of the law is possession? Yeah. Do you know what that means? No.
Yourself, give it to them. They won't put it back down again. It actually works psychologically as well.
But what is it though? It does work
It's the intent to
psychologically.
need it. You have it in possession.
But you have,
Yeah.
you have the beneficial title, and you
If you've got it, prove it's not yours, isn't it?
Or prove
It's
it's
for
yours.
everybody else to prove it's not yours. If you're saying it's yours, it's for everybody else to prove it's not.
No.
Obviously, when if you've got COVID in your pocket, you're in trouble.
It's generally the one who makes the claim has to prove the claim.
Yeah, so if you're saying something is yours,
Yeah.
it's in your possession
Then I have to prove it.
Do I have to prove it's not yours, or do you have to prove that it is yours?
I have to prove it's mine if I'm
Right.
claiming such. If you're claiming it's not mine, then you
Yeah.
have to prove it's
Right,
me then.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the salesman, he gets £400 and you get the iPhone.
So does that count with land then? So if you're standing on the land, you're going, this is my land.
Yeah.
Does that like possession is no sense like this is mine, prove it's not, in principle?
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But actually, it's the flip side of that. The 9/10 of the law is the legal title, and that's the one who pays. That's why we get 9/10 of the possession. Like when we're allowed to live in our house, we're allowed to live there under conditions, and those conditions are we pay the council tax, we pay the mortgage back, we pay the telephone bills, the TV license, everything, you know, because we're being held as in the trust side that we're not recognising, we're being held as trustee, and the trustee is the one who's supposed to be administering the account for the benefit of the beneficiary. And what we've never done is we've never flipped it round on them, saying that, hang on, you're actually using my name as an asset to you against myself, yeah. Yeah.
Can't you just pay yourself then?
Well, that'd be a allodial title, but you haven't got a allodial title because you've never like done it. You know, land registry hold the equitable title. It's theirs.
Can you claim that? Is that what they do with the 7-year? If you do it for a
Lost that
set, you
season.
can
12 years, I think.
Oh, 12 years.
Is it
12
12?
years. To change it.
So that's what they do. They claim it under.
China changed it
salvage,
again.
Salvage.
Salvage. I don't know. These are the things that we need to look at. Like it's
Yeah.
probably in conveyancing. Be you know, if someone understood conveyancing.
But it's in that 12 years if no one's actually said anything to you about it, or said, actually I think that's my only bit of rent. As long as nobody's actually said that to you, and you've kept that for 12 years without any interference, and looked after it, and fenced it off or whatever,
Yeah.
and use it in a perpetual whatever way,
Yeah.
then
It's yours, but
you've got that. But
land
whether it's
registry
whether
thing,
it's
yeah. That's
That's
the
the trap door, isn't it, the land registry. If you register it, you lose it, you lose the
you
title.
lose it, yeah. And what they do is they kind of, have you heard of the word cheat? No.
Word what, sorry?
Cheat. Cheat basically